So recently I went to Computex and Phil wasn't able to attend with us, but Phil was actually still there with us digitally doing all of my edits in the United States on a PC that was physically in Taiwan. So today we're gonna talk about Parsec, which is a free utility that you can install and actually have remote access to any PC that you install it on. And more importantly, although it has a paid edition, it is absolutely free. It's how we overcame a huge obstacle, literally that being the Pacific Ocean. So I figured why not share it with you guys, because you guys love our free software series. And Phil's been using this for years now, and I figured it's probably time to share it with you guys.
You ever wonder how scam callers seem to know way more about you than they should? I'm talking about your full name, your phone number, your home address, and sometimes even family members you've never even mentioned online. It's not magic, it's data brokers. There are thousands of companies out there whose entire business revolves around collecting, packaging, and selling personal information. And with data breaches making headlines almost every week, it's easier than ever for that information to spread far beyond where it started. I've definitely noticed that after major breaches get reported, spam calls, phishing emails, and other junk seems to ramp up. And the frustrating part is that you don't even have to be a customer of the company that got breached. Your information can still end up floating around through third-party databases and broker networks. So that's why I've partnered with Incogni. Incogni works by contacting data brokers on your behalf and requesting the removal of your personal information from their databases. Now, could you do that yourself? Sure, but considering the number of brokers involved, it can turn into a huge time sink. And getting started is simple. You create an account, choose whose information you want removed, authorize Incogni to act on your behalf, and then track everything through their dashboard. And one thing I really like is being able to see the progress in real time. The dashboard shows which requests have been sent, which removals have been completed, and honestly, it can be pretty surprising seeing just how many companies already have your information. Now, another feature worth mentioning is custom removals, which is available with the unlimited and family unlimited plans. If you find your information listed on a People search site or some random website, you can submit it directly to Incogni and one of their privacy specialists will handle the removal process for you. So if you'd like to take back a little control over your personal information online, head over to incogni.com/JayzTwoCents or use code JayzTwoCents to get an exclusive 60% discount. You'll find the link in the description below. Once again, that's incogni.com/JayzTwoCents or use code JayzTwoCents to save 60%.
Now, what separates Parsec from a lot of the other like VNCs or virtual machine connection or RDC, remote desktop client, that it's built into Windows, is those are all hot, steamy piles of shit, all right? Parsec was actually, believe it or not, designed for gaming purposes. So it got really popular in 2020, not because of the human malware, but believe it or not, it was designed as an app that would allow gamers to basically do split screen gaming from two completely different locations, right? Now it supports Windows, Web, Chrome Web, Mac OS, Android, and Linux. So all of you Linux guys, there you go. You got a Linux client for this as well. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and download it right now. We're gonna use it as an example of how we use it here in the office. Phil has Parsec running on his editing rig all the time. So Phil uses it specifically for just a remote client for his editing PC. There's plenty of times where maybe on a weekend we need to make a quick change, or I need to have access to a file, or I need him to upload something. Maybe it's after hours, we've already left, and it's like, crap, need you to do this real quick. And he can log in from his PC at home and basically have exactly what he sees on his PC at work on his computer at home. Now the cool thing is it also works on Android, but it's funny they have Mac OS, but not iOS. Anyway, we'll talk through how to install it, how to use it. And when it comes to the gaming side, already you know it's gotta be heavily optimized when it comes to latency because of that. This could technically be used internally on your own network at home to create a cloud gaming system if you want. Well, it's not really in the cloud, but you could connect to another PC playing a game that maybe isn't on Steam. Steam obviously has remote play, but not all games that we play are on Steam. So if you wanted to remote play on a handheld or something like that, you could absolutely do it using this. The latency for Phil, 6,000 miles away, is actually really, really good. Now, before we go ahead and do the download, I wanna mention something here right now, because this is the first elephant in the room people talk about is like, the latency is terrible, misclicks, mouse movements and all that if things are out of sync. The cool thing is Parsec absolutely syncs your inputs with the host and the client. So for instance, Phil's able to make edits and quick edits on the timeline because where he clicks on his screen is where it will click on the host screen. You also have full control over the bitrate and basically the upload bandwidth. So you want to sync it to something that's a little under the max bandwidth of where your other system is. or give yourself a bigger buffer if you're in like a hotel or something like we were, and the usage goes up and down all over the place. Another reason why the latency feels really good is because of the fact that it's not just doing like 60 FPS or 60 Hertz max. It was offering up to 144 Hertz connection frame rate with Phil because my laptop is 144 Hertz, but he actually sees up to 240 as being available with the free edition. Now, the paid edition gives you other things that probably may not mean anything to you, or if you're working in IT, maybe it does. It can allow remote connections to multiple clients at the same time. You could manage like a deployed fleet if you wanted. There's a whole host of things that are nice to haves, but not need to haves, which makes the free edition absolutely perfect for just general users. So you're gonna go to parsec.app/downloads, and you're gonna download the version for whichever you're gonna be doing here. Now, one thing worth mentioning though is hosting is only supported on Windows 10 Plus and Mac OS 10.15 Plus. So that means if you're on a Linux machine, you can't host a Parsec service on Linux, but you can access a Windows PC from Linux, which I know a lot of Linux users are like, well, that doesn't matter to me because why the hell would I have a Windows PC anywhere? But I don't know, maybe you have a friend that needs some help or something and you could use this as like a help client if you wanted. Now, one thing to mention too is it also supports USB input that the machine that's hosting needs. So for instance, let's say you're playing, I don't know, you would never do this, but if you're playing Rocket League on a hosted machine, right, from a remote machine, you usually would use a controller. Now, how would you do that on this machine? Well, it actually has USB input signaling as well. So by default, it's going to install the Parsec app and the virtual USB driver, so you can use USB controllers. The paid version, if you're trying to use it for more of an enterprise, unlocks support for other USB devices like external drives or any sort of other external device that's not seen as a controller, keyboard, or mouse. Again, probably not something you need, but it's also not super expensive either. Your results will vary based on what you need.
Controllers will work on Bluetooth too.
Oh, you actually Bluetooth it. Okay, so it doesn't have to be directly connected. All right, so virtual display driver right here, virtual display driver used to create virtual displays. You'll see later in the app, it actually gives you the ability to configure the resolution and the all of the video stuff that would need a video driver. So it's important to have that. There's no reason why you shouldn't do it. So once you hit next, it's gonna be choose an installation type. So the two differences here per user means somebody has to be logged into Windows on that machine already to use it. So if you're sitting there at a click to sign in, even if there's no password or anything, Parsec won't work until you're physically at the desktop. Per computer means that it's gonna basically install itself in a lower access level, which means as long as the computer's on and sitting in Windows, whether it be a lock screen, it's asleep or whatever, it will be able to log into that machine and start using it, whether a person's sitting at that machine or logged into it or not. That's actually how we did it for our Computex connection there. Mostly because of the time differences, and I wasn't always at the machine when Phil needed it, so he needed to have access to it. It also means if he were to tell the system, hey, do a restart, and the system restarts and gets back into that window, that first Windows screen, Parsec would run again in the background and he could have access to it again. Doesn't mean I had to go and he didn't have to call me or text me and say, hey, can you click OK to log into Windows, and then he could have access. So that's the difference between the two right there. So Parsec is now installed on this machine. We now need to install it on the other machine. Otherwise, it's just gonna have nothing to connect to. So we're gonna do the same process over here on the other laptop. So Parsec is on both machines. Now we need to set up the host first. Right now, this is the host that we're gonna be controlling from a remote. So we can just go ahead and find Parsec. We've already installed it. There it is right there. This is a fresh install too, showing you, so none of our previous connection stuff is here. It's completely scratch, if you will. So you have to make an account, and I know this is where it will probably immediately lose a lot of people, but you have to have an account. So, okay, so we're fully set up. Yep, this is Parsec Burner 69. Anyway, so this is this PC right here. It's got a little crown because it's this computer. Anyway, for settings, you can go over here to settings, and then we're gonna go to the host settings. So enabled hosting, yes, you could disable that if you want to leave the app on your machine, but then just not make it so. So here's the thing, the way we were set up right now, when we were in Computex, is I could have been using the machine and he could have just like connected and not touched anything and totally be watching everything I was doing. Which probably would have made him never want to do that again. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, you can disable hosting if you want to and leave the app running, although it kind of defeats the purpose. Unless you're going to be using this machine to connect to other people, you can make it so that this machine isn't something someone else can connect to, so it's like kind of a one-way connection, if you will. But that's just something to keep in mind. If you set this up on anyone else's computer and you don't kind of control the hosting side of it, then anyone could just pop into anyone's computer, and that sounds like a very dangerous thing to do. Anyway, host name, you can change the name on here if you want to make it a little bit more obvious. So we'll do Jay's laptop. Resolution, use client resolution. So we're gonna do keep host resolution. So the reason why you would keep host resolution is if you have a different resolution, like this is a 4K and let's say you're connecting to it from a 1080p or a 1440, then what it will do is it will go in and actually change the display resolution during hosting to the set resolution of the client, the one that's connecting from, and then it will just kind of fuck all your icons and stuff up. So that's really the reason why you would want to leave it as keep host resolution, so the system that's serving isn't getting its icons all jumbled. Orientation default, bandwidth limit. This is where you can come in here and change the connection speed. And I don't know if you get more speed available in the paid edition, but like I said, this is where you want to set this number a little below the internet connection speed of the host. So because we were at a hotel, I think Phil had it set to, we had 25 megabit upload at that hotel, which is not great, but more than enough for this. When he had it set to 25 megabit, he was over time starting to get some dropout, connection dropout, resolution artifacting and stuff, because obviously in a hotel, usage goes up and down. And hotel connections, as you know, are not great, even in a high-tech city like Taipei. So he was going in here and kind of adjusting this. So we'll just leave it at 10 megabit for now. I have no idea what the connection is gonna look like on this machine when we get it on the cellular. Lock desktop. If this first connecting guest is the owner, lock the desktop on the last guest's disconnection. So basically when the connection ends, it'll lock Windows. So that way you're not just sitting here with the remote connection open and access, say if you're in an office or something like that and you're in a bank. Nobody at a bank should be using this ever, by the way. So just saying, you can lock the system when you're done. Kick all guests on owner disconnect. So if you have a bunch of people connecting to the system for some reason, you can make it so that when the owner disconnects, everyone disconnects. Anyway, lots of settings on here that you can play with. Those are the only ones we're really gonna care about right now. I mean, constant FPS is kind of nice, but we'll have to show you those connection settings anyway once we're on before we start playing with any of that. We seem pretty good on here on everything else. Quality, lowest latency. This is obviously gonna be based on your preferences. So there's lowest latency, which would be great for gaming. The resolution actually looks really good even on low latency. There's balanced and high quality. High quality is obviously gonna come at a slight latency hit. All right, so with that said, there's computers. Let's now come over here and let's connect to it. Actually, before we do that, we need to put this computer on a hotspot. We need to get it off our network, because right now we have gig down and 50 or 40 up, which is too good in my, and also it's very close. We want to have it bounce around and see what's gonna happen. This does not work with VPNs because of the encryption side. So it literally can't find and connect to it. So you can go into your host, if you're running a VPN, you can go into your VPN and actually set an exception for this, where this will not tunnel through the VPN, it'll tunnel through your standard network connection. So just want to keep that in mind. This does not work with VPNs. Dang, T-Mobile, I want to turn mine on now just to compare. Hold on, we're gonna do this. What the hell, man? It's only because I was talking shit. 5G my ass. Whatever. Okay, so as you can see, I logged in on the same account. So this is like an owner connection here. And Jay's laptop popped up and it says it's my computer. And look, now this computer's up over here. Now the share button right here allows you to be able to create a link that you can then email or send to someone else to connect to this machine. If it's your account on both ends, you can see the connect button just shows both ways, right? So I'm gonna click connect to Jay's laptop. We're doing this in real time, that popped up. It switched the resolution here to that one's resolution, but all it did over here was actually change the scaling. So because I didn't have 200% scaling set over here, it did now, because obviously 16-inch screen versus a 32-inch screen. Now what I'm doing is I am in this machine. So look at the lag. So I can minimize that. Ooh, the frame rate though. So I think we need to do some modification here. So this icon right here, you can drag and move around. This is the connection icon. Remember, we don't have a great upload. It was only like 5. So we need to come in and probably do a little bit of adjustment here. Bandwidth limit, yeah, see it's set to 10. So let's go ahead and just make it 3 so that we're under the 5 that we know that we were getting. I also want to point out, it's probably difficult to see, the frame rate on this is very high. It's actually really high. But let's look at some other settings here. When you open the host screen, you do have different options in here versus the quick menu versus the actual menu. So by opening this Parsec menu here, remember I'm opening it there. Right now my entire system is this system. So keep that straight in your head. Now if I click the gear over here, I can change the frame rate by going to host and coming down to FPS and switching it from 60. I can just max it out at 240. Let's make some adjustments there. Ooh, and we saw a little artifacting for a second, but it came back in. Okay, so we'll kind of demonstrate the latency right here. So you can see with the mouse, you can't really tell, but watch the little slider. Yip, 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 yip. So that was a connection issue. It's even telling us we have a connection issue. The like cellular aspect of this right now is not great, but
It's genuinely worse than the hotel connection was.
oh yeah, this is definitely worse. I was watching you edit, and we even did some testing, and I was like, hey, is this usable? He's like, yeah, it's fine. But yeah, look, you can even launch Heaven. That connection is so bad. Like, you wouldn't be able to game with that at all.
Yeah.
But this is like the worst case scenario. Like, using a, like, you can't even read that. What we'll do right now is I'm gonna connect this to our Wi-Fi. We can literally just disconnect and then click connect again. Now we have a really good connection. Really good connection. Look at this. So now to give you an idea of what those speeds will look like, but more importantly, we still have it set to the 3 megabit. So I can absolutely, see how it still looks artifacty?
Yeah, you can click the icon, change the bitrate right now, and then you can see the rise.
So let's go ahead and go to video settings, bandwidth, and let's go up to like 25. We have really good connection here. We can go higher than that. Let's see. There we go. That looks like native right there. Here's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect, and I'm gonna flip the connection, and I'm gonna connect from the laptop to this machine as a potential like playing games from across the house sort of thing. So now I literally just click connect. There we go. Look how easy that was, right? Okay, so here we are in Cyberpunk. Now what I did was I dropped the frame rate from 240 down to 120. 240 was giving us a little bit of a weird decoding issue where we were getting crazy lag, and it was warning us that it was actually, the laptop was having a hard time decoding that for some reason. This is my first time actually using Parsec for gaming at all. Not gonna lie. What? Get it! I want a car! Not gonna lie, it feels like I'm on the host machine. Like, it feels like I'm playing natively right now. I'm just trying to see with all these quick movements if I can just get some crazy artifacting or something happening. Oh my gosh. They have cops on bikes now? Dude, this is so good actually, holy crap.
Yeah, because all the
Okay, I'm able to steer through this. So obviously the latency's okay. Yeah, I could absolutely do this. Maybe I'll have to try this with the ROG the Lenovo sometime. Okay, well there you go. Don't know how long this video was, but I just wanted to get some demonstration about practical use case and the fact that you can game on it. I didn't even think about gaming on it. And I'm kind of wondering if they call it Parsec because of the potential distances involved. But anyway, time to get out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. If you think there's a better solution than Parsec, what do you think it is? There's actually another solution Phil uses, but I'm not gonna say what it is because I wanna know how many people might actually mention it. And then if a lot of people do, then we'll show that one as well. But there is another one, and I'm curious as to which one you guys are using. All right, thanks for watching. Now you know how you can, for free, game where the machine's not, on something that's not using Steam. So, and Steam only works on your network, but this works across that, different networks. So, all right guys, thanks for watching. As always, we'll see you in the next one.